18 years ago, I was smoking crack in Florida. I was in Jacksonville, Florida, living in a crack apartment. My neighbors dealt it, and I ended up staying up one night, seeing them jarring, and I was snorting a lot of coke, trying to run from my problems. And I heard that if you call out to this guy named Jesus, he would save you. But at the time, there was no way that I was anybody of value or worth being saved. So I thought there was no point in it, but I just kept doing what I was doing, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop getting high. I couldn't stop smoking. I couldn't stop watching the life that I had, which wasn't much of a life at the time, but whatever I had of it getting thrown away. And so one night after I got done looking in the mirror for about, I don't know, it felt like hours, just telling myself how much I hate you, and carpet farming for leftover pieces of rock, hoping to find some. I'm laying in bed, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I gotta go to work the next day, and I know it. And I just feel absolutely pathetic. I just feel absolutely drawn and dead inside. But again, I heard about this guy who would save me, and don't get me wrong, I've heard about him before, and I've probably cried out before in foxhole prayers. I don't know what it was this time. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I just know that I cried out, Jesus, if you're real, if you're really real, I need you to stop me from getting high. If you stop me from getting high, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. Whatever it is, I'll do it. And so the next morning I got out of bed. I wouldn't say I woke up because I don't know if I ever really went to sleep. I got out of bed and I went to work. I was cutting concrete for a big concrete company down there. And I got to the job site and I put my hole saw onto the wall. And there's a big hotel that we were building. And as I put my hole saw onto the wall, I had to turn on the water so the dust would stay down. I'm surrounded by guys on this concrete site, on this job site. We're building a hotel on the ocean. And I'm just there to drill holes, right? And I turned the water on, and as soon as I turned the water on, I started bawling my eyes out. Just bawling, just crying like a baby. I don't know why I'm even crying. I'm just bawling. I'm sitting there surrounded by dudes, like, they're looking at me like, what's going on with this guy? And I'm just crying, like ugly crying, just whatever. And then all of a sudden I hear inside of my head, like literally, like, it wasn't me, but it was me, if you know what I mean. And I just heard, go turn yourself in. Go turn yourself in. It was this alarm over and over and over and over again. Go turn yourself in. To back up a little bit, I was running from the law. I had warrants out for my arrest. I've been on the run for 5 years now. I was down in Florida working under a different name. All sorts of stupid stuff. And so I just hear this alarm, go turn yourself in, go turn yourself in, go turn yourself in. And I'm like, okay. I get up, I pack my stuff up. I call my boss, I tell my boss, hey, I gotta go home. He's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I'll call you back. I call my parents. I'm like, hey, I'm coming home to turn myself in. I've been smoking crack. I'm stuck. I can't get out. I'm coming home to turn myself in. Will you watch my truck? I don't know what's going to happen to me. I could see a year. I could see 5 years. I had a 1 to 5 over me at the time. And I'll go see the boss. The boss is like, don't run from your problems. He didn't know about my issues. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm running back to them. I'm going to go home and solve them. So I start going home because of this voice, just go turn yourself in. And I just kind of knew at some point that this was Jesus. And I had to stay a week because I didn't have any money to go home. So I had to wait to get paid. I had to wait a few days to get paid. So I didn't work, but I stayed in my apartment and just thought about what was going on. I had no idea. I just knew that something was going on. And I got into home. I got to home and I turned myself in. I went home and I turned myself in. And my first sentence that I had was, I think it was 45 days, 15 days time served in Oakland County. So I served 30 days. And I remember getting into the jail cell and picking up the Bible. And I've never read the Bible before. This was the first time. And I opened up to Psalms 51. Like, first time. I mean, it kind of helps. It's in the middle of the book, but whatever. I opened up to Psalms 51. And I read that, I've sinned against you and you alone. And I like started having this amazing personal relationship with Jesus, with God, and communicating with him all my problems and my misunderstandings and everything that happened in my life, all the sin, all the times people hurt me and all the times I hurt others. And it was this thing where, like, I wasn't worrying about anybody else at the moment but me and him. Don't get me wrong, I was still, like, effectively hurting people because I didn't know I was still a hurt person. But what I do know is I sinned against him and him alone. And when I took care of that business, I could then start taking care of other business. And I say this out there to you guys who might be struggling with addictions, might be struggling with just trying to get things right in your life. Work it out with him and you. Just you and him. Like, really get crazy with it. It's going to take time. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's not a quick fix pill. He's eternal. You're eternal. This is a process. This little blip we have on life. I don't know what's after, but I imagine it's amazing, and I imagine it's worth it, whatever we're going through. But I just implore you to work it out with him. And if you're struggling out there with addictions, just cry out. I mean, you don't have to ask for salvation of your soul. Just ask him to stop you from getting high. I mean, he's going to work that other stuff out. You just trust him. And listen. Be obedient to what he says in your heart and your mind. If he says turn yourself in, go turn yourself in. It'll be the best decision of your life. I love you. Go for it.